The morning
Oh
sun was very
my
bright over the
God.
palace. Marcus stood in the long hallway of the east wing. His uniform was clean and perfect. His shoes were shiny like mirrors. But inside, he felt tired. He had been working as a royal guard for 12 years. 12 years of standing in the same places. 12 years of wearing the same uniform. 12 years of watching and waiting and saying nothing. Marcus was not famous. You would not see his face in newspapers. You would not see him in the big pictures on television. He was the kind of guard that nobody really noticed. He was always in the background. He stood in the shadows while other more important people stood in the light. This was fine for Marcus. He did not want to be famous. He just wanted to do his job well. The palace in the early morning was very quiet and peaceful. The big windows let in yellow light. The walls were painted in soft colors. Everything looked nice and calm. Marcus had walked these hallways so many times that he knew every corner, every door, every painting on the walls. He knew where the light came in at different times of day. He knew which hallways were busy and which ones were empty. This Tuesday morning felt like all the other Tuesday mornings. Marcus stood at his post near the east wing. His eyes looked down the long hallway. His back was straight. His hands were still. He was a statue. But his mind was awake and watching everything. The sound that changed everything, the small radio on Marcus's shoulder, made a soft sound. Crackle, crackle. Marcus was used to hearing his radio all day long. It was part of his job. Every morning, there were briefing reports. They talked about who was coming to the palace. They talked about the weather. They talked about any problems. Marcus heard these reports every single day. This morning, the radio voice said normal things at first. Security report. All gates locked. All cameras working. No problems in the north wing. No problems in the south wing. Marcus listened, but he was not really thinking about the words. His mind was somewhere else. He was thinking about his daughter at home. She was 8 years old. Her name was Emma. She had her mother's eyes, blue and bright. Emma wanted to be a princess when she grew up. Every night, Marcus told her stories about the palace. He told her about the beautiful gardens. He told her about the big parties. He told her about the kind people who lived here. Then the radio made a different sound. The voice was different now. Not calm, not normal, worried. Attention all units. We are getting reports. There is an accident. A vehicle accident near Kensington Road, near T.H. Main Palace Road. Marcus's attention came back very fast. He was listening now. The radio voice continued. Initial report says there was a collision with barriers on the road. We are still getting information, waiting for more details. There was a pause, a long pause. The pause meant something bad was happening. Pauses were never good. Then the voice said something that made Marcus's body go completely still. It made his heart beat very fast. It made his hands feel cold. Initial reports suggest the Duchess of Cambridge may have been in the vicinity of the accident. Kate's name, Kate. The Duchess of Cambridge. Kate. Marcus knew who Kate was. Everyone in the palace knew who Kate was. She was not just a name or a title to the people who worked here. She was someone real. She was someone kind. Over 12 years, Marcus had seen Kate many times. He had never spoken to her. Guards and the royal family did not have conversations. But he had seen her. He had noticed things about her. He had noticed how she smiled at people in a real way. Not a fake smile for the cameras. A real smile that came from inside her. He had noticed how she talked to workers in the palace. She would ask them questions about their families. She would listen to their answers. She really cared about what they said. He had seen her in the gardens with her children. She played with them. She laughed with them. She was not just a princess from a storybook. She was a real mother who loved her children very much. Marcus thought about his own daughter, Emma. Emma was the same age as Princess Charlotte. They had never met. They never would meet. But still, they were both children of someone who worked very hard to protect them and love them. Now, the radio was saying Kate's name in a way that meant danger. It meant something bad might have happened. The waiting that was terrible minutes passed. Long minutes. The radio stayed quiet, or it made sounds, but there was no important news. The voices sounded confused. They sounded like they were waiting for information, just like Marcus was waiting, still getting reports from the scene. Ambulances are going to the accident, waiting for confirmation about the convoy. But no one said, "The Duchess is safe." No one said, "Everything is fine." Around Marcus, other guards felt it too. He could see it in their faces. When he looked down the hallway, he could see other guards standing at their posts, and they were all listening to the radio. They were all waiting. They were all worried in a way that guards are not supposed to be worried. Guards were supposed to stay calm. Guards were supposed to follow rules. Guards were supposed to do exactly what they were told, and nothing more. But worry is bigger than rules sometimes. Marcus thought about his daughter again. He thought about reading her stories at bedtime. He thought about her small hand in his. He thought about how scared children get when they do not understand something. He thought about how sometimes a child needs their mother or father, and nothing else in the world matters. Kate had children. Children who loved her. Children who needed her. The radio crackled again, but still no real news. The hallway was still beautiful and calm around Marcus. The paintings on the walls had not changed. The light was still coming through the windows. Everything looked the same as it had 5 minutes ago, but everything had changed. Everything had changed in the moment Marcus heard Kate's name.
Marcus had learned the rules very well. The rules were everything in the palace. The rules told you where to stand. The rules told you when to move. The rules told you what to say and what not to say. The rules kept everything safe and organized. There was a rule book. It was very thick. Marcus had read it many times. It had rules for every single thing. Rule number 1, a guard must stay at his post. He must not leave his post without permission from his supervisor. Rule number 2, a guard must follow the chain of command. He must wait for orders to come from his boss. His boss waits for orders from his boss. And so on. This is how things work. Rule number 3, a guard must not act alone. He must always wait for a team. He must always wait for approval. Rule number 4, a guard must stay calm. He must not let his feelings control him. Feelings make people make mistakes. Marcus knew all of these rules very, very well. He had followed these rules for 12 years. He had followed them when he was tired. He had followed them when he was sick. He had followed them when he wanted to go home to his family. Following the rules kept the palace safe. Following the rules kept important people safe. Following the rules kept Marcus's job safe. But now, as the radio stayed quiet and the minutes passed, Marcus was thinking about something else. He was thinking about the difference between rules and instinct. What instinct means. Instinct is something that lives inside you. It is not something you learn from a book. It is something that comes from your heart and your experience and your life. Marcus had spent 12 years protecting people. He had trained his mind and his body to watch for danger. He had trained himself to notice small things. A person walking too fast. A bag left alone. A door that was open when it should be closed. But more than that, Marcus had spent 12 years caring about the people he protected. He had not chosen to care. It just happened. When you stand near someone every day, when you watch them live their life, when you see them as real people and not just as pictures in magazines, you start to care about them. Marcus cared about Kate, not because she was a duchess, not because she was famous, but because she was kind, because she was real, because she was a mother who loved her children just like Marcus loved his daughter, Emma. And now, the radio was saying her name in connection with an accident, and no one was saying she was safe. Instinct told Marcus something was very wrong. The conflict inside. Marcus stood at his post. His body did not move, but his mind was in a terrible battle. One side of his mind said, "Stay here, follow the rules. Wait for orders. Do not leave your post. You will lose your job if you leave. You will lose your job, and your family will not have money. You will let your daughter down. The other side of his mind said, something bad might have happened. Someone you care about might need help. The rules exist to protect people, not to stop you from helping people. A Real guard would not just stand here and do nothing. These two voices fought inside Marcus's head. He looked down the hallway. Everything was normal. The paintings were on the walls. The light came through the windows. Nobody was running. Nobody was shouting. Maybe everything was fine. Maybe Kate was safe. Maybe he should just wait for an official report. Then the radio crackled again. Still no confirmation from the convoy. A voice said, "Scene is still being assessed. Multiple injuries reported. Ambulances on the way." Multiple injuries. That meant people were hurt. It meant something bad had really happened. Marcus thought about Kate's children. He thought about Prince George and Princess Charlotte and Prince Louis. They were all so small, so young. What would happen to them if something happened to their mother? He thought about Emma again. Emma was 8 years old. If something happened to Marcus, if something happened to his wife, Emma would be lost. She would be broken. The world would not make sense to her anymore. The decision. Marcus closed his eyes for just 1 second. In that second, he made his choice. He was going to break the rules. He was going to leave his post. He was going to move without approval. He was going to do something that could end his 12-year career. He was going to do it anyway. Some people might think this was a brave choice, but Marcus did not feel brave. He felt scared. His hands were shaking a little. His heart was beating very fast. He knew what he was about to do was wrong by the rules, but he also knew it was right by something bigger than the rules. He looked around. The hallway was empty. No one was watching him. No one would see him leave right now. Marcus took a deep breath. Then he moved, breaking protocol. He did not run. Running would look strange if someone saw him. He walked quickly, but not too quickly. He walked like someone who had a purpose, who had been told to go somewhere important. He moved away from the East Wing. He walked toward the service stairs. These were the stairs that workers used. Guards did not usually use them, but Marcus knew them. He had studied the whole palace in 12 years. His radio was still on his shoulder. He could hear voices. Different voices now. Voices that sounded confused and worried. But no one was calling for Marcus. No one had even noticed he had left his post. He came to the service stairs. They went down and down, spiraling into the lower levels of the palace. These stairs led to the service areas. They led to the tunnels. They led outside. Marcus started to go down the stairs. Each step felt like a decision. Each step felt like he was leaving his old life behind. At the bottom of the stairs, he paused. His supervisor would be very angry soon. His supervisor would notice he was not at his post. There would be questions. There would be trouble. But Marcus could not think about that now. He could only think about Kate. He could only think about the accident. He could only think about instinct telling him that he needed to move. He pushed open the service door and stepped out into the morning air. The sky was bright. The world outside the palace was normal and busy. People were going to work. Cars were driving. Nobody knew about the accident. Nobody knew that Marcus had just broken every rule he had followed for 12 years. He started to move toward the direction of Kensington Road. He did not know what he would find. He did not know if it was too late. He did not know if help was even needed. But he had to try, because some things matter more than rules. The accident scene was not far from the palace, maybe 5 miles away. But those 5 miles felt like 100 miles to Marcus as he moved through the streets. He could hear sirens now, many sirens, loud and urgent. The morning traffic had stopped. Cars were not moving. People were getting out of their cars to look at what had happened. Marcus moved through the stopped traffic. He moved fast, but tried not to look like he was running. His uniform helped. When people saw a palace guard, they did not ask questions. Then he saw it, the accident scene. A big truck had crashed into 3 cars. The metal was bent and broken. Glass was on the road everywhere. There was a strong smell of fuel. Smoke was coming from one of the cars. Emergency vehicles were everywhere. Police cars, ambulances, fire trucks. The lights were flashing red and blue. People were shouting. Emergency workers were running. Someone was crying very loudly. Marcus looked at the cars. His heart stopped for a moment. One of them was black. It looked like a royal car. It looked like the kind of car that carried important people. But as he got closer, he understood something. The royal car was not hit. It was parked to the side. It was safe. The convoy had not been in an accident. The radio reports had been wrong. Kate and her family were not in danger. Marcus felt relief wash over him. His body became weak for a moment. She was safe. Kate was safe. But then he saw something that made him stop moving completely. The moment that mattered. Kate was not in the car. Kate was standing outside the car. She was standing on the road near the accident. She was not standing with her security team. She was standing near the crash cars. She was standing near the hurt people. Marcus could see her clearly. She was wearing a blue dress. Her hair was tied back. She was not doing what she was supposed to do. She was not staying in her car. She was not waiting for the emergency workers to handle everything. She was doing something much different. She was kneeling down beside an old car. Inside the car, there was an old woman. The old woman was trapped. The door would not open. The woman's face was white with fear. She was hurt, and Kate was holding her hand. Marcus could not believe what he was seeing. This was not what Duchess did. This was not what the rules said should happen. The security team should have told her to stay in the car. The security team should have made a safe area. But Kate had walked out her car and gone to help this woman. She had decided, all by herself, that helping a hurt person was more important than staying safe. A security person was running toward Kate. His face was very worried. He was trying to get her to go back to the car. But Kate was not listening. She was holding the old woman's hand. She was talking to the woman. Marcus could not hear the words, but he could see Kate's lips moving. She was saying something to calm the woman down. "It is okay." Marcus could read from her lips. "It is okay. Help is coming. You are not alone." The old woman was crying. She was so scared. But Kate stayed there with her. Kate did not leave. Kate held her hand and looked in her eyes and made the woman know that someone cared about her. This was not a royal person doing what royals do. This was a human being doing what humans should do. More people who needed help. Marcus saw something else too. In another car, a young mother was sitting on the road. She was holding a small child. The child was maybe 2 or 3 years old. The child was crying very loudly. The mother's arm was bleeding. She had blood on her shirt. But she was holding the child and trying to make the child feel safe. The mother looked around. She looked lost. She looked like she did not know what to do. The emergency workers were busy with other people. No one had come to help her yet. Kate saw this too, after a moment with the old woman. When the paramedics arrived to help her, Kate did something that made Marcus's heart break and fix itself at the same time. Kate left the old woman and walked over to the mother and child. She sat down on the ground beside the mother. She got her beautiful blue dress dirty on the road. She did not care. She looked at the crying child and smiled a gentle smile. "What is your name?" Kate asked the child. The child cried louder. The mother held the child tight. "His name is Tommy," the mother said. Her voice was shaking. "He is so scared." Kate nodded. She did not try to take the child. She did not try to fix anything. She just sat there. She was present. She was there with them in their fear and their pain. "Tommy is a very brave boy," Kate said to the child. "And your mummy is very brave too. I know you are scared, but brave people can be scared. Brave people can cry, and they are still brave." The child looked at Kate. His crying got a little quieter. Kate reached into her pocket and took out a small toy. It was a little butterfly. She gave it to Tommy. The child's tiny fingers took the butterfly. His cry became quieter still. The meeting. This is when Marcus stepped out of the crowd. This is when Marcus moved forward, and Kate looked up and saw him. For a moment their eyes met. Kate did not know Marcus's name. She had never spoken to him, but she recognized him. She had seen him in the palace. She knew he was a guard. And she understood something in that moment. She understood that Marcus had broken the rules. She understood that he had left his post. She understood that he had come to help, just like she had come to help. Kate did not say anything. She did not smile. She did not wave. She just looked at him. And in her eyes, Marcus saw something beautiful. He saw that she understood. He saw that she knew what he had done. And he saw that she was not angry. He saw that she was glad he was there. Marcus came closer. He knelt down beside them. "Is there anything I can do to help?" he asked quietly. The mother looked at him. The bleeding on her arm was still bad. She needed medical help. "The paramedics are very busy," the mother said. "My arm, I think it is bad." Marcus looked around. He saw what Kate already knew. The emergency workers had many people to help. This mother might have to wait a long time. He took off his jacket. He tore off a piece of fabric. Carefully, gently, he wrapped it around the mother's arm to stop the bleeding. Kate watched him do this. She watched the guard become a person who cared. She watched someone break the rules to help. Tommy held his butterfly toy and stopped crying. The mother let out a long breath. "Thank you," the mother whispered. "Thank you so much." Kate and Marcus did not look at each other again, but they both knew something. They both knew that some things matter more than rules. They both knew that people matter more than protocol. And they both knew that this moment would change things forever. Marcus came back to the palace 3 hours after he had left. The accident scene had become organized. The hurt people had been taken to hospitals. The broken cars had been moved. The emergency workers were finishing their work. Kay had stayed at the scene for almost an hour. She had talked to the police. She had talked to the paramedics. She had made sure that the mother and Tommy had everything they needed. She had given the old woman a phone number to call if she needed anything. She had done everything she could do as a human being, not as a duchess. When she left, she did not say goodbye to Marcus. There was no need. Some moments do not need words. Now Marcus walked back to the palace gates. He tried to look normal. He tried to look like nothing had happened. But inside, he knew that everything had changed. His radio had been quiet for the last hour. No one had called for him. No one had asked where he was. But that would change very soon. Marcus went down to the guard room. The guard room was where all the guards changed their uniforms and had their breaks. It was a big room with lockers and benches. When Marcus walked in, all the other guards looked at him. They all knew that he had left his post. His supervisor, Captain Williams, was standing by the door. Captain Williams had been Marcus's boss for 7 years. He was a serious man. He did not smile much. He believed in rules and order. "Marcus," Captain Williams said. His voice was quiet and dangerous. "Come with me. Now. The investigation begins." Captain Williams took Marcus to a small office. The office was plain and cold. There was a desk and 2 chairs. There was a computer. There were filing cabinets full of papers. "Sit down," Captain Williams said. Marcus sat down. His hands felt cold. "I need to know why you left your post," Captain Williams said. "You left the East Wing at 10:15 in the morning. You did not ask permission. You did not tell anyone. You left your post empty. Do you understand how serious this is?" Marcus nodded. He understood. "I left because of the radio report," Marcus said, "about the Duchess and the accident. I thought something bad had happened." "You thought," Captain Williams said. His voice was hard. "You are not supposed to think. You are supposed to follow orders. You are supposed to wait for official instructions. You are supposed to trust that your supervisors know what they're doing." Marcus said nothing. Captain Williams was right. By the rules, Marcus was wrong. "I could fire you right now," Captain Williams said. "I could end your career. 12 years of service, and it ends because you broke protocol and left your post without permission." Marcus's heart felt very heavy. He thought about Emma. He thought about his wife. He thought about all the years he had worked here. He thought about how one moment could take everything away. "I understand," Marcus said quietly. "Do you?" Captain Williams asked. "Do you really understand? There are reasons for the rules. Marcus, there are reasons we have a chain of command. If every guard left his post whenever he felt like it, this place would fall apart. The Duchess would not be safe. Nobody would be safe. Captain William stood up and walked to a window. He looked out at the palace gardens. However, he said slowly, I have received a visitor. Someone very important came to see me about an hour ago. She told me what really happened at the accident scene. She told me why you left your post. Marcus looked up. Captain Williams turned around. The Duchess came to see me herself, Captain Williams said. She told me about your actions at the scene. She told me that you helped a hurt woman. She told me that you showed courage and care. She said that you did not leave your post for selfish reasons. You left because you were worried about her safety. Marcus was shocked. He did not expect this. What Kate said. Captain Williams sat back down at his desk. He opened a notebook. In the notebook, he had written down things that Kate had said. The Duchess told me several things, Captain Williams said. First, she told me that the convoy was not in the accident. She told me that there was no danger. So, technically, your worry was based on incorrect information. Marcus felt his heart sink. This was bad. However, Captain Williams continued, she also told me something else. She told me that your instinct was correct. She told me that even though she was not in danger, people were in danger, and she told me that you came to help. That is what matters. Captain Williams read from his notebook. The Duchess said, Marcus left his post because he cares about people. He did not know if I was safe, but he came anyway. That is the kind of guard I want protecting the palace. That is the kind of person I want serving the royal family. Guards who follow rules are important, but guards who also have hearts are more important. Marcus could feel tears coming to his eyes, but he held them back. A guard should not cry. The Duchess also said something else. Captain Williams continued. She said that she did something she was not supposed to do. She said that she left her car without full security approval. She said that she broke protocol too. She said that if you are fired for breaking protocol, then she should be fired for breaking protocol. And she said that does not make sense. Captain Williams closed his notebook. I have worked here for a long time, Captain Williams said. I have never seen the Duchess speak to me about a guard before. I have never seen her come to my office to defend someone, but she did today. She came for you. The decision. Captain Williams stood up again. He put his hand on Marcus's shoulder. Marcus, I believe in rules, Captain Williams said. Rules keep people safe. Rules keep order. But I also believe in the reasons behind rules. The rules exist to protect people we care about. If you break the rules to protect people, then maybe you are not really breaking the rules. Maybe you are following a bigger rule than the ones in the book. Marcus looked up at Captain Williams. You are not fired, Captain Williams said. You will keep your job. You will keep your position. But this will be in your record. This will be noted. People will know that you left your post. But people will also know why you left. People will know that you left to help. And that means something. Marcus felt like he could breathe again. There is something else, Captain Williams said. The Duchess asked if she could speak to you. She asked to see you in her office. That is very unusual. But if the Duchess asks, we say yes. The moment of grace. An hour later, Marcus stood outside the Duchess's office. His uniform was clean. His shoes were shiny. His heart was beating very fast. A secretary opened the door. The Duchess will see you now, she said. Marcus walked into the office. Kate was sitting behind a big desk, but she stood up when he came in. She did not stay sitting like a duchess. She stood up like one person greeting another person. Marcus, she said. She knew his name. Thank you for coming. Your Highness, Marcus said. He was not sure what to say. Please sit down, Kate said. She sat down too. She made the room feel like two people talking, not a guard and a duchess. I wanted to thank you, Kate said, for coming to help, for breaking the rules to help. That took courage. Marcus was standing at his post again. The east wing was quiet and peaceful. The morning light came through the windows like it always did. Everything looked the same as it had before, but everything was different now. 1 year had passed since the accident. 1 year since Marcus had broken the rules. 1 year since he had met Kate at the accident scene. 1 year since his life had changed forever. Marcus was still a guard. He still wore his uniform. He still stood in the shadows and watched the hallways. But now, people looked at him differently. Other guards knew his story. Workers in the palace knew his story. And Marcus knew that his choice that day had meant something. He thought often about that morning. He thought about how scared he had been. He thought about how he did not know if he was doing the right thing. He thought about how breaking the rules had felt like the most important thing he had ever done. Now, as he stood at his post, Marcus received a visitor. A woman came walking down the hallway. She was an older woman. She walked slowly, but she walked with strength. Marcus recognized her. It was the old woman from the accident. The connection. The woman's name was Eleanor. She had been trapped in her car that day. She had been so scared. And Kate had held her hand while they waited for help. Eleanor walked over to Marcus. Her face showed recognition too. "You are the guard," Eleanor said. "The one who helped me and that mother and child at the accident." Marcus nodded. He did not know what to say. "I wanted to come and thank you," Eleanor said. "In person, I wanted to tell you that what you did mattered, that you matter." Eleanor had a small bag with her. She took something out of it. It was a photograph. The photograph showed Eleanor with a young man and a young woman. They were smiling. Behind them was a house with a garden. "These are my children," Eleanor said. "I had an accident that day. My arm was broken in 3 places. But because of the help I received, because of people like you who cared, I got better. And now, 6 months ago, my son got married. My daughter is getting ready to have a baby. I got to see my family grow because someone cared enough to break the rules and help me." Eleanor held the photograph close to her heart. "That someone was you," Eleanor said. "Thank you for being brave that day. Thank you for being human." Eleanor left the photograph with Marcus. She hugged him, even though they had never officially met. Then she walked away. Marcus held the photograph. He looked at Eleanor's children. He looked at their happiness. He understood that this happiness existed because he had left his post that day. The mother and Tommy. 2 weeks later, Marcus received a letter. The letter came to the palace. It was addressed to him. Marcus opened it carefully. Inside was a letter and a drawing. The letter was from the mother, Sarah. She wrote, "Dear Marcus, I do not know if you remember me. I was at the accident. My son Tommy was with me. You helped me that day. You stopped my bleeding. You stayed with us when we were scared. I want to tell you that Tommy is now 3.5 years old. He talks about the butterfly lady, that is what he calls the Duchess, and the kind guard man, that is you, all the time. He draws pictures of that day. He thinks you are a superhero. Tommy wanted me to send you his drawing. He drew a picture of you at the accident. He drew you helping people. He colored it with lots of bright colors because he says you are shiny and kind. I also want to tell you that I went back to school. I got a better job. My arm healed completely. I have a new car. I have a new life because people cared about me when I needed it most. You changed my life. You changed Tommy's life. We will never forget you. Thank you for being brave. Sarah and Tommy." The drawing showed a figure in a blue uniform helping a mother and small child. The figure had a big smile. Around the drawing were stars and hearts and butterflies. Marcus put the drawing on the wall of his small room in the palace. Every morning when he woke up, he saw it. Every evening before he slept, he saw it. Tommy's drawing reminded him why that day was important. What changed? Things in the palace began to change slowly after that day. Guards started talking about the situation. They started talking about what it meant to be a real guard. They started talking about the difference between following rules and following your heart. Captain Williams made a small change to the training program. He added a lesson about judgment. He taught new guards that rules were important, but so was understanding the reasons behind rules. He taught them that sometimes the bravest thing you could do was to break a rule in order to help someone. The Duchess, Kate, had also changed things. She had spoken to the security team about being more human and less rigid. She had asked them to understand that she wanted to help people, And that helping people was part of who she was. The security team learned to work with her nature instead of against it. More importantly, Kate had started a program. It was a small program, but it was important. The program helped people with accidents. It helped them with medical costs and healing and getting back to their lives. Eleanor and Sarah and Tommy were part of this program. So were many other people. And Marcus knew that this program would not exist without what happened that day. The real meaning. Years passed. Marcus got older. His hair started to turn gray. His face got more lines. But he stayed a guard. He stayed at the palace. Sometimes, young guards would ask him about the day of the accident. They had heard the story. They wanted to know what it felt like to break the rules. Marcus would always give the same answer. Breaking the rules did not feel like breaking the rules. Marcus would say, it felt like doing the right thing. And sometimes, the right thing and the rules are not the same. Sometimes you have to choose the right thing, even if it breaks the rules. The young guards would listen, and some of them would understand. Some of them would remember Marcus's words when they faced their own difficult choices. One day, when Marcus was near the end of his time as a guard, he saw Tommy. Tommy was now almost a teenager. He was walking through the palace with his mother, Sarah. They were visiting the palace as part of the Accident Survivors program. Tommy was tall now. He was growing up. But when he saw Marcus, his face lit up with recognition. You are the kind guard man, Tommy said. He was not shy. He ran over and hugged Marcus. Sarah smiled. Tears came to her eyes. He never forgets, Sarah said. He talks about you all the time, about how you helped us, about how you were brave. Marcus hugged Tommy back. He felt the warmth of a child who did not understand the weight of rules, a child who only understood kindness and courage, the quiet truth. Many years later, Marcus retired from the palace. He had served for more than 30 years. He had stood in the shadows for most of his life, but his name was known now. People knew his story. At his retirement party, many people came to say goodbye. Eleanor came. Sarah and Tommy came. Captain Williams came. Other guards came. And the Duchess came. Kate shook Marcus's hand. She looked at him with kindness in her eyes. You changed something that day, Kate said quietly. You changed the way people think about service. You showed everyone that real service means caring about people, not just following rules. Marcus went home to his daughter, Emma. Emma was grown up now. She had a job. She had her own life, but she was proud of her father. She had always been proud of him. One evening, Emma asked her father a question. Dad, do you ever regret breaking the rules that day? Marcus thought about this question. He thought about Eleanor and her family. He thought about Sarah and Tommy. He thought about all the people who had been helped because he had broken the rules. No, Marcus said, I do not regret it. That day, I learned something important. I learned that the most important rules are not written in books. The most important rules are written in your heart. And if your heart tells you to help someone, if your heart tells you to care, then you should listen to it, even if it means breaking the other rules. Emma smiled. She understood. She had grown up listening to her father's stories about the palace. She had grown up knowing that sometimes being brave meant doing the right thing, even when the right thing was not the easy thing. Forever changed. The story of what happened that day spread far and wide. It became more than just a story about a guard breaking rules. It became a story about what it means to be human. It became a story about courage and kindness and the power of one person's choice to change things. Years and years later, when new guards started working at the palace, they would hear this story. They would learn about Marcus and Kate and the day that everything changed. And they would understand something important, that the rules exist to protect people we care about, that being brave sometimes means breaking the rules, that kindness matters more than protocol, that one person's choice can change the world. Marcus never became famous. He never wanted to be famous, but his name was remembered, his story was told, and his choice, the choice to leave his post, to break the rules, to help another human being, echoed to the years like a bell ringing in the darkness. In the end, Marcus understood that this was enough. This was everything. Some stories are written in history books. Some stories are told on television. But the most important stories, the stories that really matter, are the ones written in people's hearts. The ones told from generation to generation. The ones that remind us what it means to be human. Marcus's story was one of those stories, and it would live forever. Because one day, one choice, one moment of courage had changed everything. The end. Marcus did not know what to say, so he just listened. I also want to tell you something, Kate said. What you did today was more important than following rules. Rules are important, yes, but people are more important. And you remembered that when it mattered. Kate smiled a small smile. Your daughter, Kate said. Emma, is that her name? Marcus nodded, surprised that she knew. She should be very proud of her father, Kate said. I am proud of you, and I wanted to tell you that myself. In that moment, Marcus understood something. He understood that the Duchess was not just a title. Kate was a real person who cared, a real person who saw other people as real too. Thank you, Marcus whispered. It was all he could say.